Alright guys, this is going to be my Acolyte Episode 5 review. I thought this was definitely a step up from last week. I thought the action in this was really good. The episode opens up with all of these Jedis being absolutely murdered by the Sith who is revealed to be Khmer. I never saw this coming in a million years. I was absolutely shocked, jaw just completely dropped. I'm obviously joking, but I gotta say the action scenes with him as the Sith with the helmet on was really badass. Some of the moves too, like he stabbed someone through the chest and then pulled someone else onto the same lightsaber while it was still in someone. That was pretty cool. I liked how he was like headbutting lightsabers and I guess his helmet can deflect them. That was pretty cool. He's like boom, boom, just deflecting it. And then I guess his gauntlets like shut off the lightsabers for the Jedis. That was also really cool. The one thing I will say though is like he destroyed a bunch of Jedis and then he was like struggling against Jeki, who's a Padawan. That didn't really make a lot of sense to me, but I am glad that, he beat her in a really brutal way. That was really badass. He splits his lightsaber into two and then just goes doom doom doom, stabs her 3 times, and we see it all from a camera shot from the back. Really badass shot. Then Khmer fighting against Soul was also really interesting, how they were basically talking to each other about, their darkness, and he was like, I've embraced mine, like, what have you done with yours to Soul? I was like, oh, snap. But Soul just needs to reveal to Osha what happened. Like, it's been dragging on for a few episodes now. He always says, I'll tell you, and then something happens, and then we never get it revealed, so I really hope that in episode 6, he finally sits down with Osha and just tells her what happened. And this episode confirmed to us that Khmer is a Sith. He literally looks at Saul and he says, you might call me a Sith, which has the potential to completely break Star Wars lore if they go back and tell the Jedi Council about what happened. Like, all these Jedis were murdered by someone with a red lightsaber, and they even said the name Sith. So for Ki-Adi-Mundi in episode 1 to say the Sith have been extinct for millennia doesn't make any sense anymore, because he's gonna find out that a whole bunch of Jedis have died at the hands of someone with a red lightsaber, who also just affirmed that he is a Sith. And some people have been saying, like, oh, he could still be a Dark Jedi or something else. I don't think they would name drop Sith if he's not going to be a Sith. I think that would just be stupid. But anyways, that happened, and then he's fighting Soul, and then he gets literally dragged away by bugs. Like, it felt like a cartoon. I was like, what are we doing right now? I think it was Osha, like, strapped, like, a flashlight to his back, and then he's like, oh, get this off me, and then a whole bunch of bugs show up, and I was like, what is this, like, Saturday morning cartoon bad guy, takedown that I'm watching right now? Like, what is happening? Now we've got to talk about one of my least favorite parts of the episode, and that was May and Osha talking to each other. I was like, what is going on? Like, what is it? May is telling Osha, like, oh, like, I want to be there for you, like, choose me, not the Jedi, and then it's all, like, touchy-feely, the music's playing, and then, Osha is just like, no! You broke the law! I'm bringing you in! You're under arrest! I'm like, what? It just felt very abrupt and out of place, like, just like when, in the last episode, May just all of a sudden wanted to turn good. I had the same kind of feeling in this scene, and it was acted very poorly. Like, the performance from Amandla Stenberg in this scene was very bad, in my opinion. Then we get the first ever Star Wars haircut. May just grabs the lightsaber, chops her hair off to look like Osha, and then basically is pretending to be her to go with Soul or whatever. Like, I don't even know what she's planning on doing right now. Because now she just put her sister at risk because Khmer, the Sith, now has a hold of her. And that's pretty much the episode. Like, not much really happened story-wise. It was really just a big action scene, which really annoys me because this should have just been connected to episode 4 and just have, like, a 50-minute episode. Like, it makes no sense to have these small, tiny little episodes, make fans wait an entire week to watch it when it's really only, like, 26 minutes of actual runtime for the new episode. Because when you take the recap out from the beginning and then the credits at the end, I just checked, it's like 26-27 minutes. You could have easily just mashed this episode and the last one together and it would have been a lot more fulfilling and more enjoyable to watch. Which is another criticism I have with the show, is the fact that these episodes are so short but the budget is 180 million. It doesn't make any sense. Especially when you have other shows like House of the Dragon, which has a very similar budget and all the episodes are about an hour long, and they're way better quality, so it doesn't make sense to me that we're getting subpar quality TV that's half the length of something else with a similar budget. Like, it blows my mind. But anyways, guys, that is the Acolyte episode 5. Nothing really happened besides some pretty decent action scenes. Overall, I'm going to rate it a 5 out of 10 episode. I think it's a bang average episode of TV. I just don't think much happened other than the action scenes. The story, the script, the acting was all pretty weak. The reveal of Khmer being the Sith was extremely obvious, like painfully obvious. Then on top of that, it could be lore-breaking. And yeah, I think it would have just been a really bad episode of TV if the action wasn't as good as it was. Well, let me know what you guys thought down below about episode 5. Did you love it? Did you hate it? And were you surprised about Khmer being revealed to be the Sith character in this show? I really hope that you weren't surprised, because they dropped a ton of hints. They made it extremely obvious. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode down below.